Hello, gorgeous.
You see, in this world, there's two kinds of people, my friend.
Be afraid. Be very afraid.
You're tearing me apart!
Onto your butt.
Round up the usual suspects.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Midnight Movie Nerds. And today we are bringing one of my personal favorite films of all time. My name is Louis.
And I'm Princess Naomi.
Princess Naomi.
Always princess.
That's right.
Yes.
Magical unicorn.
Magical unicorn princess.
So the movie we are actually bringing this week is Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind.
I love this movie.
So do I. This is Michel Gondry and Charles Kaufman. Charlie Kaufman? Charlie Kaufman's script. This, if you don't know Charlie Kaufman, you've seen Eternal Sunshine, obviously. You've seen Adaptation. Another film that I cannot pronounce for the life of me, but it's an exploration, and they're all existential movies. Being John Malkovich is another one of his.
They're very cerebral movies.
Yes, they are,
Yes.
which is my wheelhouse.
It really is. But they're approachable.
I agree. And this film actually stars Kate Winslet, Jim Carrey, which he is, oh my god, amazing in this film. By the way, him actually taking on a serious role for once, which is just incredible.
Successfully taking on a serious role.
Yeah. Like, really successfully. And this story is, imagine if you've ever wanted to erase a bad memory. What would happen to you if you actually truly erased all the events that occurred from this one person that was involved in your life? If we had to erase all those memories, how would you live your life?
Or if you could.
If you could.
Is what it is. If you had the opportunity, would you erase somebody?
And would it be something that you could actually do over and over again? And why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
And I think this story analyzes that aspect of it. How many of us have gone through bad relationships that we would want to erase? But would you truly want to erase those experiences that you had?
I think it's not erasing the experiences, it's erasing the pain. It's a weird way of trying to erase the pain.
Someone's being the pessimist for once.
Well, I just think what it is how many times have you had a broken heart, and it's not that you don't want the memory of the person, you want to take away that heartache. But then the only way you can is to erase them completely, and that's what the story is about. It's about being so deeply connected to someone that when the relationship fails, you can't fathom life without them, so you'd rather not remember it at all. It sort of has that almost Christmas Carol effect.
It does, but also I think it's very important that we realize that every aspect of our lives are intertwined with this person. And that's for a reason, though.
Yes, absolutely, but it's just...
And that's what this film actually goes into.
This movie is so beautiful and so reminiscent of what it's like to go through a breakup, to go through heartache, though, I think. And I think it's very true what people do if they have the opportunity. Whether it's right or wrong, whether it's a good choice for them, they would jump on being able to erase someone from their mind.
Yeah, and it's really done well when Kate Winslet erases Jim Carrey as the boyfriend.
Yeah. Well, it's very true to her character.
It is.
Because her character is, if you haven't seen it, is very carefree. She makes decisions without a lot of thought into it.
Impulsive.
But she's very self-conscious as a person, and I think that's more what it was. She's
very jaded.
But she allowed Joel into her heart. She was very trusting of Joel in that relationship, and I think she genuinely wanted it to be more. And Joel hurt her really deeply. She hurt Joel, no doubt, but he hurt her. She felt betrayed by him, and that's why she did it. She jumped on this opportunity to just erase him because she couldn't deal with that. And I think that speaks to how deep their relationship was. It wasn't just another... She didn't do that with every guy she was involved with. She did that with Joel.
Yeah.
So I think that has a lot of weight behind it.
Because I think the relationship... And let's start off from the beginning of the movie. The beginning of the movie is her already erased him from his... her subconscious.
Mind. Yeah.
Yeah. So her conscious does not have any idea who this person is.
It's from the point of view of Joel, though.
Yes.
The entire movie. So it's not like you're really... Clementine is not someone you've connected with in the beginning. It's his relationship with Clementine, which is interesting in itself because a lot of movies, especially romantic movies that focus on relationships, are usually from the girl's perspective.
Yes.
More often than not. You don't usually get into the mind of the guy and his thoughts on a relationship.
And both of them don't recognize each other at all at the beginning of this film.
Which is beautiful.
It really is.
It's such a beautiful movie.
And the music adds a whole other level to this. Michel Gondry has this incredible way of portraying and getting deep into your under your skin. Mm-hmm. And then Kaufman's writing is something to behold. Like, he has this way of writing characters that I've never seen in a book, in a script before.
But what I love is how Kate Winslet and Jim Carrey brought these characters to life.
Oh, they did. And Michel Gondry allowed them to improvise a lot of the lines.
And it was just amazing.
It was. It adds a lot of real element to it. And I think that's what's important. And that's, you could see that they added so much to it. And it adds the layers that are needed for a relationship.
Yeah, absolutely.
It adds the heartache. It adds the factor of, like, oh, these are people that have been broken before. And
what I like about this movie, though, is the little snippets of their relationship that you see.
Yes.
Because I think that's really what it is when you're looking back at a relationship, especially one that's failed, is you remember these poignant moments.
And it shows, I love how at the beginning of the film, it shows, once they uncover everything that's going on, they show all the failures in the relationship.
Yeah.
And then subtly you start seeing the beautiful moments. The moments where they will remember afterwards all the good moments that they had.
Well, and that's why I think it's sort of that Christmas Carol effect of, like, you know, if you could see your life without someone in it. It's basically what it is he wakes up in a world where she didn't exist. Yeah. And he feels the emptiness, even though he doesn't know why. The whole thing is about how he feels kind of empty and incomplete, but he doesn't know why. Yeah. And that's really interesting to me because it's like a sensation of a void in your life. And it's not that he can really reconcile it, but then when he sees her again, he illuminates. He's attracted to her again, though. The fact that means that there's something there. Their connection survived this. And it's like you said, when he was going through and they were remembering all the bad things, like he was remembering how she was needy, how he was afraid that she was cheating on him, things like that. But then that went away, and what left was the good. Yeah,
and I think that's important because this is all about relationships.
This
film is 100% relationship,
but it is
analysis.
Not a rom-com on any level.
No, it's not.
It's very dark.
It is. But it also gives you the truth about relationships. There's
it's beautiful
line. Oh my God, there's so many beautiful lines throughout this film. Mm-hmm. But not only the titular line, the Eternal Sunshine line where they're talking about the elephants.
The actual quote.
God, that is beautiful. Quote from Nietzsche. And there's other quotes throughout this film that just make you feel like, wow, this is actually relationships that I've been in.
To me, the ones I love the most were when they showed a time when they would just be laying in bed, having a random conversation, sharing stories about their past, like when she was sharing a story about when she was a little girl and how insecure and inadequate she felt. That's what I love, because those are those little moments that make a relationship so much deeper, because they're things you'd only share with that one other person.
Yep.
And those are just so pivotal to a relationship, and I like the fact that that's what he was remembering. It was when Clementine was very open with him because she was a very guarded person because of the failures of her life. So those are the scenes that I think were so beautifully shot as well.
Oh, yeah. Michel Gondry is an artist.
Because there's something so real about it, though. I'm just laying in bed. She's in a tank top and panties, basically. But it's not sexual in any way.
No.
It's just like them laying there and having a conversation, but it's just, you can feel it. Like, it's like when their relationship was deepening in those moments. Yeah. Or, of course, the beautiful scene where they're laying on the iced-over lake.
Oh.
On the midnight picnic. And you could just... And I love the fact that Jim Carrey played this awkward character. He was very awkward because I think a lot of people can relate to him. That dynamic of the awkward, sort of introverted male, and he meets this outgoing female, and it doesn't... They're not an obvious connection. But they balance each other.
Yeah. And I think that's very true to a relationship. There is always a balance in a relationship. There's always one person that takes on one role and the other that takes another. And that's what makes a standing relationship, is that if they're able to have that type of connection that even surpasses that, And I think that's what this film does very well, portraying that in multiple relationships throughout the film.
Yeah.
Because there's not just the relationship between Clementine and Joel. There's the relationship between the erasers. Yeah, which is actually really cool, and I think
it's a cool
that
little
adds
sub-story to it.
Yeah, and there's one of my favorite lines, and I think Mary has a lot of the best lines.
She really does.
And there's one that says, "Adults are like this mess of sadness and phobias," and that is so true. How many times can you imagine and tell yourself, like, I stopped myself from doing this because I have a phobia of this, or I have a fear of this. And you wouldn't have had that fear as an adult. And yes, that, granted, that keeps us from freaking jumping off a cliff or doing something stupid that will actually hurt us as adults. But it also takes out the fun in life.
Yeah.
So, and the reason we have so many, like, repercussions in relationships and so many fears of just allowing ourselves to get involved, even if it just means for a relationship that will move us forward.
But what
is because of the fear of the past.
It is the fear of the past. But what do you think about the fact, basically the movie it focuses on them meeting again, but it's to them, it's like the first time.
I think that's important.
No, I think it is important. But what do you think about the fact that they are so different that he's almost intimidated by her? You know what I mean? Like that ride on the train when she's kind of popping up and down over, and she's.
God, I love that scene.
But I love it because you feel the connection between them. But you see that in their original relationship too. He was a little more confident in the first one. I think he was more awkward the second time they met because he had lost all those memories of Clementine. Because I think she did. She brought him confidence.
Yeah, I think
in an important way. But I love their relationship. I love both depictions of it.
I do.
The new one and the old one.
And I also think that a lot of it. So, the way that Joel's character was portrayed in this film, it is very realistic to a millennial male.
Yeah.
I think that's very important to analyze because you either have the introvert, extrovert, or that one that's right in between.
Do you really think he's right in between?
I think he is borderline introvert.
I think he's very introvert.
I think that he's borderline.
I think she's in between. She gives off radiates extrovert, but she's so self-conscious and so damaged is a bad word, but she's had so much bad in her life and she's so guarded that she's introverted in tendency, but she's more willing to express herself, like through her hair. That's such a big part of the movie, the orange hair, the blue hair, I think that almost attracted him to her because she was doing things that he wouldn't do. He's a very cautious, very buttoned-down person.
And I connect with that character.
And I connect with Clementine.
Yeah.
The orange sweatshirt, the kind of crazy colored hair, and just sort of like, you see, she's sort of like those pictures you see where an extrovert sort of adopts an introvert. And they're like, I'm going to take you now, and I like you. I'm going to latch onto you, and we're going to make it work. Because it's the balance again.
Yeah.
Because that's what he had. He brought her down to reality.
Yeah.
And I think he gave her security and stability that she didn't have in her life. But she gave him that flair of that joie de vivre, that loving life again.
I think so too. And I think a lot of the Jim Carrey's character is portrayed so well because I feel that Jim Carrey, to a certain extent, identifies with that character. Yes, he's very extrovert in his comedic aspect and all that stuff, but we've seen it with Jim Carrey, with Robin Williams, that a lot of those comedians, the reason they're like that is because they're hiding who they really are, which is an introvert.
That's true. But this movie, it plays so much into what I think a lot of movies don't, is the insecurity factor.
I love that because you feel it. Like, I've had moments, there's so many little nuances that Jim Carrey does that I've done.
But the whole thing, it's ironic because they're both afraid of losing each other because they both think that the other person is basically too good for them.
Yeah.
That it's a dream come true, and so they're sabotaging their own relationship, and they do it again the second time. And I think that's so true to life. When you pair up with someone who's probably like your perfect match, you almost sabotage it because you're like, I don't want to go through the pain of losing this person, so I'd rather self-sabotage it. Like I'm looking for flaws, which is what they do.
Exactly.
Throughout
And
the
then
whole thing, they're looking for flaws in each other because
they're both young.
and they're
both
flawed characters. They're not perfect.
No. Oh yeah. They really
but
are.
that's the reality of it. Nobody's perfect.
Exactly. And
Well,
I think,
Princess Naomi being a notable exception to that.
yes, indeed. But no, honestly, I do love Joel's character, and for me, that's what stands out because I identify so much. This is one of those films that, for me, I actually say that this is my character analysis. There's 5 films in my life that I could actually point to. This was from this time to this time in my life, and this is the character I was.
So where would you say Joel falls in that timeline? Are you Joel now?
Yeah,
You think that you've transitioned into
I have.
Joel? Yeah.
Yeah, I think I have.
What I love is the fact that most of the movie is him trying to hide Clementine from this, thing that's happening to him, the procedure that's going on. And these aren't real events that happened. They're just, he's taking memories of her, the best memories, and hiding her in different parts of his brain, which I love. That is such a cool concept of this movie, of taking something from your current life and hiding it, tucking away somewhere, especially when they go back to childhood.
Yeah.
And
Oh my god.
it's so sweet, like when it's the 2 little kids in the rain and they're playing in the puddles.
Dude, that sequence is so
Or her
beautiful.
in the kitchen in the 60s.
Yeah.
She's like, I love this kitchen. Like, it's just, it's so, I love it because it's who she is, though. And that's what he loves about her. She's almost that typical Aries. Very outgoing and just kind of spontaneous. And they've got that lovability to them. Not that I'm talking up Aries for any particular reason, but...
And I really do think that. I really do agree with you on that aspect 100%. And it's a huge testament to Gondry. Mm-hmm. Because, believe it or not, most of this film was done with practical effects.
Yeah.
There's very few CGI effects. And, like, the whole sequence where he gets up and he starts walking through the different scenes, that wasn't special effects. That was an actual set that was built like that.
Yeah.
And he actually walked from scene to scene.
There are such small details in there that are so beautiful. And I actually read about this recently, and I hadn't thought about it before, is when he went to the bookstore the first time he met Clementine.
Oh my God,
But what he's remembering is his conversation with Clementine perfectly, but all the books in the background don't have titles on them. They're all white. And what they said is what they were trying to talk about is the fact that you don't remember those little details necessarily, and he couldn't recall that. So when you're looking back in your mind, you're not, and you remember, hey, I was in a bookstore. Yes, you do. But do you really remember the books that were around you at that moment? It's talking about how much you tune out and how much you don't retain in your memory as well.
Yeah.
But how poignant that speech was that Clementine gave him about how she was just a effed up girl and looking for her own concept. And what's really great about this movie, it takes very high level cerebral concepts again, but it makes it approachable.
Yeah.
Because it is actually really complicated because you're talking about a relationship and then the new relationship and then this new other part, this relationship that doesn't exist. It's only in his brain where he's trying to save his relationship with Clementine. And she's not even an active part of it. And then he's also got the relationship she had with the person who erased her memory.
Yeah.
So you've got a lot of levels in here. It's really complicated. Now, it's actually kind of hard to explain in a coherent manner.
It really is. But I think the best way to explain what this movie is an analysis of our own self-doubt and an analysis of a relationship that we are afraid to be in.
But this is one of those movies where, and I've said it time and time again, that the best movies, the ones I love the most, answer a question. And I think the basic question is, if you could erase a relationship, would you?
No. I don't think I would. Because every relationship has led me down a path where I've been able to be more secure with myself or I've grown as a person.
Well, and I think you see that with Joel. When he wakes up after it's done, his life is sort of
different.
empty.
And he doesn't know why.
Empty.
But it's
but
also
he's
different.
lost that. But I'm saying, like, he's lost that 2 years that he had growing as a person with Clementine, and what he benefited from her. Mm-hmm. That becoming more engaged with life and starting to enjoy the little moments. But when you look at some of the scenes, some of the memories, like when they're walking down the street and she's talking about how she'd want to be married and have kids one day, and he's like, I don't think you'd be good at that. He's kind of a negative Nancy throughout the movie too, even in his relationship with Clementine. And I can see where she was kind of like, yeah, no, I'm done. Because he was very negative. It's very hard to be around someone who's negative all the time, who absolutely refuses to see the positive.
Yeah.
So they were almost bad for each other in a way. They were good in that they complemented each other, but there was that sabotaging effect.
Yeah.
That was going on.
Yeah, agreed. And I think
that's a part of relationships.
Exactly.
The rough as the bad and part of the good. But you have to go through that.
Exactly. And I think that makes it a stronger relationship. And in this case, because of the impulsive nature of her character.
Clementine.
Yeah.
Oh, my darling. Oh, my darling.
And you love the little nuances at the beginning. Like, I don't know that joke. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That she says, like, because she doesn't know the story of Clementine because it got erased.
Yeah.
Because that was something that he said to her all the time.
Yeah, and I like how you see that he was more confident with her the first time in the relationship, and I don't really know why. But he was more charming and engaging to her the first time when they met. And then the second time he was sort of awkward and not able to approach her. So that's interesting to me. Because, he would have been that kind of reverting the same Joel he was 2 years earlier.
Not really, because of the life experiences that he just went through.
But he erased them.
The life experiences, yes, but not the emotions that were behind that.
But he kind of did.
Would it erase the impact that left on you?
I think they would. Without the catalyst for it, the emotions would have no meaning.
I think that's what the biggest aspect of this story is, and it's trying to get to the bottom of, is do the memories make us who we are?
Yeah.
And I think they do. I think without our memories, it will change us. And if I erase the last relationship that I was in, I honestly think that myself, I would suffer for that.
Well, yeah, because I think every relationship, if nothing else, it teaches you more about the type of relationship you want to be in.
Exactly.
And I think that's important because, it's like, what is the cliche quote? I learned 1,000 ways not to make a light bulb.
Yeah.
Failure teaches you how not to pursue your life.
It definitely does.
You learn more from a failed relationship than you do from a successful one.
True.
At least you learn more about yourself.
Yeah.
And who you are
learn
and
what you want,
yeah.
what you don't want, and what you could be, and what you could do, and what you can't do. It tests the limits of where you could go.
Absolutely.
And I think that this shows that, just with excellent storytelling. Like, I cannot talk about how much I love Michel Gondry in this. The way that he portrays this film is so incredible.
I love this movie. I think that this movie is, I would put it as almost flawless in its depiction. I
agree. Like, there's issues with it if you go down to the nitty gritty of continuity and all that stuff, but that's okay because that's the whole concept
kind of helps
of it.
the movie is the fact that there's a lack of continuity to it.
Exactly. So it doesn't. It works with it.
Uneven, I think, is intentional.
Yeah.
The fact that it's uneven because it's meant to sort of throw you off and jar you. I think there's a lot of intentionality between. It's sometimes hard to follow the track of their relationship, but that also the jumble of the mind where things get kind of mixed up, especially when you're going through a breakup. Because the bad and the good overlap, and those didn't happen during your life, so it wouldn't happen in your memories, too. And a lot of times you can have that association, especially like in a breakup where, okay, if it was a song that you guys love together, so it has a positive thing from your relationship, but then it makes you sad later on.
Yeah.
Sort of like Inside Out, the duality.
Yeah.
Like one memory, but multiple emotions that overcome it.
I agree.
So
I agree.
I think that helps. That it's sort of like Memento in a way.
It is.
That concept of, it's very much like Memento.
Yeah.
Now that I think about it,
it is. It is, and
I think any memory movie though, you kind of get that jarring going back and forth.
But I think this has like a higher. It's pushed to the top level. When it comes to like these memory movies. Like, I consider this movie way better than Memento.
Well, Memento's a really good movie, too.
It really is, but this is way more superior.
I love this movie because it's got that aspect of the romance, the initial one, the new one, those elements of the girl. And also, what I really love is that little sub-story with Mary and the doctor. Yeah. Which is beautiful on its own, because Mary is so innocent, and the fact that she doesn't have a memory. And you see that. I mean, like, I think what comes from that, it's not a fresh slate. Yeah. The system doesn't work with Joel and Clementine, but it did with Mary. Yeah. And that's interesting to see.
And it shows you how different each person is going to be in that.
Yeah.
How
it does.
How they could actually, and you see it with Clementine.
But do you think that Joel is a depiction of what actually happens with everybody? And you're just seeing him do it? That everyone regrets it when they're getting it done?
I don't think so.
You don't think so?
No.
I think everyone would.
I don't think so.
I think everyone would. I think you would go through it, and as you were going through it and you were, like, seeing those memories go away, you would have regrets. He was just able to overcome it.
I mean,
but remember, it didn't work in the end. Like, his memories went away.
Yeah.
Which I love. I love because you're rooting for him the whole way to overcome it and just retain just even the smallest shred of Clementine. And he does. Mm-hmm. That's the whole point of the movie of why he went out to Montauk that day.
Yeah.
That little shred, but he didn't know why. And I love that, though, because it's a movie that it's so bittersweet. That's what I love. This movie is bittersweet.
It is. And that's every Charlie Kaufman film.
It's just so beautiful, and I love it because he's just trying so hard to maintain this memory, and he doesn't. And I love that. I love the fact that it's not happy. He doesn't wake up with any memory of her, and it's so beautiful.
And the music.
It is.
My God. The music is... Oh, my God. ELO is one of the... It was a perfect choice for this film. Like, that, it escalates it takes it to that whole other stratosphere, the music. And it works so perfectly with the visuals that this guy does. He has this way with the camera. And if you don't know who Michel Gondry is, Be Kind, Rewind. He also did the Dave Chappelle special, the Block Party special. He did that and the slew of music videos by Bjork, by who else is it? So many, any weird Daft Punk, that video All Around the World. Yeah. That was, if you imagine any weird, interesting, very artsy, fartsy, what do you call it, music video, that was most likely his.
So I'm going to say one of my favorite things in this movie in general is just Kate Winslet. I think she did a beautiful job. Oh. I love her as an actress. I know she gets a lot of smack because of Titanic and hogging the door and all that and Jack dying. But I love Kate Winslet. I think she's an amazing actress. And
she's one of the best actresses.
This movie is a testament to how she can take on a very ordinary role and make it beautiful. It's really beautiful.
And out of her wheelhouse.
But she does such a beautiful job with it. She's so believable as Clementine, and her relationship in this movie, the dynamic with Jim Carrey, is really beautiful as well.
Both of them completely get out of their wheelhouse.
They do, and this movie did give me more of a feeling of Jim Carrey's credibility as a serious actor. Like, it gave it more. I feel like in the other roles where he's done a serious, like Truman Show, which probably was... It was
still
before
has
this.
its comedic elements.
But it still had Jim Carrey in this role, as opposed to you really feel embodied in Joel.
It's not
It
Jim
doesn't
Carrey.
feel like Jim Carrey as this, like as Ace Ventura, as this. It feels like a
Camille's.
serious actor who really took on this role and really wanted to take it to its most.
I think every single one of the actors that get into this film are completely different than who they normally
and Kirsten Dunst is really good in this movie, too.
She does. Her Mary portrayal is incredible.
And this is really good because she was a child actress. And it's, again, that transition from child actress to adult, because she feels very young in this movie.
She does.
She looks very young in it, too. She almost looks like a teenager in this movie.
Yeah.
But she does a beautiful job as well, because, what I love the fact is that, and it's a tiny thing, but their hair's not perfect. Like, you see it kind of frizzy. They've got kind of dowdy-looking outfits, and I like that because that's reality.
And Elijah Wood, I know. Oh, my God. And Mark Ruffalo. Like, this is a star-studded cast.
Mark Ruffalo. Can I tell you, I love him.
Oh, yeah.
I love him, but I love him in this movie because it's a major actor in a supporting role.
Yep.
And he does a beautiful job in this because it's you feel for him. You feel for all these characters. They're very identifiable characters. I would say that anyone in this movie...
They're all very sorrowful.
Any person who watches this movie could find someone that they could identify with in it.
Even the Tom Wilkinson character, which I think he's the only one that plays to his normal type.
It's true. Yeah.
I think he's the only one that plays to his type.
I feel like all the other ones are really amazing actors in terms of just totally embodying a role. Like Mark Ruffalo especially.
Dude,
he's amazing in any movie he is in, but...
And that's pretty much the cast, really. There's not much else in the cast. It's those 5, and that's pretty much it.
Yeah, really, for that. But it doesn't need a lot.
It doesn't.
There are others just to move scenes along, but they're not essential to it. But
yeah, like the stoner couple.
Yeah, that's kind of an annoying part of the movie. I always thought that was an awkward, weird part. I mean, I know he had to find out. Like, you need to have it in there to move the story forward.
He's a catalyst, or a catalyst.
But they were kind of annoying.
They were.
And I don't really like that actress in it, the one who plays the wife. Yeah. She was on Frasier. She played Mel, and maybe that's why I hate her so much, because she was so good as Mel that I hate her. She was also in A Series of Unfortunate Events with Jim Carrey.
She was, yeah.
And I hate her in that movie, too. So, I'm sorry, chick. I don't know your name, but I hate you. Just throwing that out there, my personal opinion of how much I hate her.
So yeah, what would you give this overall?
Oh, I'd
rating?
give this a 10.
10 out of 10?
I would give it a 10 out of 10.
Same for me. This is a covet 10 out of 10. This is on my top 10 too.
It is. This is
for
in
me.
my top 10 movies just because I think it is almost beyond reproach.
I don't think there's a
I
single
think if
thing
you could
I
get
would change.
nitpicky, maybe like you said, there are some nitpicky elements, but I don't think I would change anything. I like that. I like the fact that it's not perfect. I think you need
the
that.
only thing I could think of that is imperfect in
The
this
only thing I would
is
change
the
is
continuity.
that actress that I hate. I would change her.
I don't mind them, honestly.
I mind her because I hate her so much, but I'd probably it's like I said, she's kind of an annoying element. That couple is annoying.
Yeah,
But I like the fact that they're not in a great relationship too. I think that's interesting. Like, you're going to make it about our shit? Like, I like the fact that that's in there. That little bit of, they're in a kind of crappy relationship. It's a lot about relationship failure.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes it a downer movie to watch.
Which, that's Charlie Kaufman.
But I think this is the type of movie where you watch it with somebody that you're in a relationship with and it
makes it that much better.
Well, I mean, if you're, like, in a relationship, you'd go, like, I think it would inspire that question. Would you delete me out of your memory? Like, and that's a tricky question, depending where you're at in your relationship.
Yeah, right?
It could be one of those movies that definitely, it could force a breakup. I think it's one of those movies, sort of like the movie The Breakup. You watch it and you're in a couple, and I think it could lead to a lot of breakups. I think this is the type of movie where you would have a serious reaction to it, where you would reevaluate your life. Yeah. This is the type of movie where, and there are very few, I think, where they actually have a measurable impact on your life, where you might actually reevaluate based on seeing it.
Agreed, and that's why I think that this is one of those, like,
The Breakup is one of those movies, too, even though that's a funny movie.
Yeah.
I think that when I went to go see that in theaters, I saw a lot of people walking out and a lot of girls with like the puckered mouth because I think it brought up so many things that they hate in relationships and guys going, oh shit, I don't want to go home to this tonight. But it's like that. I think Eternal Sunshine is like that because it focuses so much on the negative that it would bring that up. Because it is very seriously impactful and you're not going to forget it. It's not the type of movie you'd watch once and forget.
Oh, definitely not. And this is one of those I like to watch.
I saw this movie in theaters, and I loved it so much.
Too.
I did. Yeah. This is one of the rare movies where I wanted to go see it in theaters.
I remember going to watch it because it's Charlie Kaufman.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh. Yes, it had been like 10 years since he did something.
Yeah.
So it was a while, and like I watched every single one of his films whenever they came out. Being John Malkovich, oh my god, that movie was amazing.
That movie is amazing too. Another very high level cerebral movie, though.
Exactly, adaptation.
But this
with
is
Nick
definitely
Cage.
one of the movies that you can't like. If it's the first time you're watching it, you cannot like walk away and still retain it. You really need to sit and attend
any of his
to it.
movies.
Yeah, but I think this is like just one of those like if you walked away for a few minutes, you might almost be lost when you got back.
Oh yeah,
because there's not a lot of like what you say. There's not a lot of fat on this movie.
No,
like every scene is important to move it forward.
Yeah. And you'll miss something, a little key, a little nuance that adds to the story, and you're going to miss some type of character. This is a film you have to sit and actually stare at that screen.
At least the first time.
Yeah.
But I think it's the type of movie, when you watch it, you're watching because you want to watch the movie. And it's not like background noise. It's not a white noise movie.
No, definitely not. Even though the soundtrack is beautiful. But this is something that you want to watch, and it's so captivating, the visuals.
This is one of the movies I would intentionally put on. Like I said a lot of times, like with movies, if it was on, I wouldn't turn it off. This is a movie I'll actually put on and intentionally watch.
Same. And that's why it gets such a high rating for me.
Yeah.
It's that rewatchability that just makes it that much.
And every
more.
time you watch it, you get something different from it. I think you do because you're paying attention to different elements. Like the first time you're focusing on Joel, but maybe the next time you're focusing more on Clementine and the little things there, the nuances there. Or sometimes you look at Married, and especially when you're watching it again and you know everything about the movie, then you're looking for those cues throughout it.
Yeah,
which are great.
And there's something to be said when an actor portrays a scene that's cut so much and the acting stays perfect. There's a lot of people miss that because there's a lot of scenes that are cut. It's a 3-shot cut and that's it. This film is not cut with a standard 3-shot setup and you cut between a medium, a long shot, and a close-up. It's not like that.
Now, let me ask you something. Most important question in my mind is, do you perceive this movie to be a happily ever after?
I think it is.
You do?
I do.
You don't think that it's like history repeating itself?
No.
You think they would have learned from it?
Yeah.
It's like you said. They would have heard everything bad, and they could overcome it later on.
Exactly.
Or know that they cared enough about each other to come back together again.
Exactly. So. And the fact that they were... there's something to be said about soulmates.
There is.
And it's...
You think they were soulmates?
I think so.
Yeah.
Because if not, they wouldn't have fallen again in love.
So quickly.
Exactly.
Because she inherently trusted him.
Yeah.
That's the thing. I think that's what you see where this procedure fails, is that she inherently had those feelings still of trust.
So I think that's a major factor on this. So yeah, definitely this gets our seal of approval, 100%, our blessing.
Yes.
Holy water and all.
I don't know, you dipping your hand in holy water might burn it off.
Yeah. I get a sunburn. But anyways, so yeah, please check out Eternal Sunshine. This is a beauty. Now, talking about it made me want to watch it now.
Well, that's saying a lot.
Yeah.
For you.
Yeah.
Because you've already seen it. So he wants to
times.
watch it again.
I've watched this movie I don't know how many times,
Me
honestly.
too.
Huh?
I love this movie. Me too. I love it so much.
So good.
So good.
But anyways, please check us out on all the different podcast platforms. Subscribe to us. And check out our other content on manbitesfilm.com. You'll be able to click all the links and everything. And this is Midnight Movie Nerds. My name is Lewis.
And mine's Princess Naomi.
And we'll
Getting
listen
tongue-tied
in.
there?
Yeah, you could. And we'll see you guys next week.
My man can't end the podcast to save his life. Got like 9 endings.
You can check us out next week on our next episode.
If you lost track of where your sentences are going, you might want to hit the end.
Yeah, I know.
The end.
The end?
The end.
The end is near. The end is nigh.